My parents sat me down at my own dining table and ordered me to sign my $1 million mansion over to my brother before sunset. Not asked, begged, or even pretended to request. They ordered me. My father placed the folder in front of me like I was a stubborn employee in his office, instead of the daughter who had bought the house with her own money. My mother sat beside him with red eyes, already prepared to cry if I said no. My brother Marcus leaned back in the chair at the head of the table. My chair, in my own house. His wife Tasha sat beside him, scrolling through furniture photos on her phone, like the mansion already belonged to them, and my signature was just a small delay before she began redecorating. My name is Naomi Bennett. I was 38 years old, and that evening I learned that some families do not wait for you to die before trying to inherit you. The mansion stood on 12 acres outside the city. Creamstone walls, black iron gates, a wide driveway lined with jacaranda trees, 5 bedrooms, a library, a pool, a garden, a guest cottage, a kitchen large enough to feed the entire family I kept trying to love properly. I bought it after 12 years of building Bennett ClearPath Solutions from a one-room consulting service into a national healthcare logistics firm. 12 years of early mornings, late nights, loans I paid back with shaking hands, clients who underestimated me, contracts I won by being more prepared than everyone in the room, years when my family called my work too much, until the money arrived and suddenly my ambition became their favorite testimony. When I bought the mansion, my mother cried and said, "God has blessed this family. This family. Not Naomi. Not my daughter. Not the woman who worked for it. This family." At first, I ignored that little phrase because I wanted her tears to mean pride. I wanted my father's silence as he walked through the front hall to mean respect. I wanted Marcus's wide eyes to mean he finally understood that the sister he mocked for working weekends had built something real. But people often show you the truth in small words before they show it in big actions. 2 years after I moved in, my parents showed up with a lawyer's folder, my brother's entitlement, and my mother's tears. The order came on a Sunday evening. Family dinner. Of course. They always chose family dinner for ambushes because food on the table made cruelty look domestic. I had cooked pepper stew, rice, roasted fish, plantains, and salad. My mother had praised the flowers. My father had said the house looked peaceful. Marcus had arrived late, bringing nothing but his wife and 2 children, who ran straight into the media room without saying hello. After dinner, while the plates were still on the table, my father cleared his throat. "Naomi," he said, "we need to discuss something important." Grace, my best friend and CFO, had warned me about that tone. Important, in my family, usually meant expensive. I looked at him. "What is it?" My mother reached for my hand. That was the second warning. "Baby, please listen with an open heart." Marcus stopped leaning back and straightened. Tasha finally looked up from her phone. My father opened the folder and slid a set of papers toward me. "We have thought about this carefully," he said. "Your mother and I believe it is time for you to transfer this house to Marcus." For a moment, I did not understand the words. Transfer this house to Marcus. The room seemed to go quiet around me, but I could still hear the dishwasher humming in the kitchen and the children laughing somewhere down the hall. I looked at my father. "You want me to what?" My mother squeezed my hand. "Baby, don't react first. Just listen," Marcus said. "It makes sense." That was the moment my shock began turning into something colder. "Does it?" He nodded, confident. "Yes, I have a wife and children. I need a stable family home. This place is too big for one person." There it was. Too big for one person. Meaning too big for me. Meaning big enough for him. Meaning my loneliness had become his legal argument. Tasha added, "And honestly, Naomi, the children already love it here. It would be cruel to make them feel like visitors in what should be their family home." Cruel. She called me cruel while sitting at my table, eating my food, planning my house. I looked at my mother. She would stop this, I thought. She would at least soften it. She did not. Instead, she said, "You have done very well, Naomi. Nobody is taking that away from you. But Marcus has a family to raise. You can always buy another place. You can always buy another place." As if a mansion was a sweater. As if 12 years of work could be replaced by a weekend shopping trip. As if I had not built this home brick by brick in my imagination during the years when I was sleeping in a rented apartment with broken heating, sending money home because Marcus had another emergency. I pulled my hand away from hers. "This is my house." My father's face tightened. "We know that legally." Legally. That word told me everything. They were not confused. They knew. My father continued. "But morally, this family helped shape who you are. It is time to think beyond yourself." I almost laughed. Beyond myself. Most of my life had been beyond myself. I had paid my parents' mortgage before buying my own home. I had cleared Marcus's business debt twice. I had paid school fees for his children. I had given Tasha money for her boutique when she said she needed one real chance. I had paid hospital bills, car repairs, family trips, church donations, emergency rent, legal fees. I had been beyond myself for so long that I barely knew where myself began. Now, the first major thing I fully owned, they wanted signed away. I looked at the papers. Who prepared this? Marcus smiled. A property attorney, I know. Vivian would have enjoyed that sentence. Vivian Hart was my attorney, and she trusted any lawyer connected to Marcus the way a cat trusts bathwater. I picked up the first page. Quitclaim deed, transfer agreement, family asset statement. Some language about love, legacy, and voluntary gifting. Voluntary. I stared at the word until it blurred. My father said, "We are not asking you to leave immediately." How generous. My mother flinched. "Naomi." Marcus leaned forward. "You can stay in the guest suite for a while. No one is pushing you out." My whole body went still. The guest suite. "In my own house," Tasha said softly. "We just think the main bedroom should go to the married couple, for the children's stability." I looked at her. "You have already discussed bedrooms?" She looked away. Marcus said, "We had to plan." Plan. They had planned my removal from the center of my own home. My father tapped the folder. "Sign tonight. We can handle filing tomorrow." I looked around the dining room. The room I had painted warm cream because Grandma Ruth once said, "A dining room should feel like bread." The chandelier I saved for. The long table where I had hosted every holiday. The sideboard where my mother arranged family photos as if this were her museum. The chair where Marcus sat like he was already owner. Something inside me finally stood up. Not loudly, not dramatically. Quietly. The way a woman stands after carrying too much for too long. I closed the folder. "No." My mother began crying immediately. "Baby, please." "No." Marcus's face darkened. "You're being selfish." I smiled. It surprised him. Maybe it surprised me too. Selfish would have been asking for your house. I am only keeping mine. My father's voice hardened. "You will not disrespect this family." I stood. "In my house, you do not order me to sign away my property and then lecture me about respect." Tasha stood too. "Your property? This is exactly the problem. You talk like you made yourself." I looked at her. "No, Tasha. I talk like I paid the invoices." My mother sobbed. "Naomi, we are trying to keep the family together." "No," I said. "You are trying to give Marcus what he did not build and keep me close enough to keep paying for it." That struck something. My father looked away. Marcus did not. He pointed at me. "You think because you have money, you can look down on us?" "No. I think because I have money, you all became comfortable looking up only when you needed something." The room went silent. Then my father said the sentence that ended the night. "If you refuse this, do not expect this family to stand by you." I looked at him. The man who taught me to be responsible. The man whose debts I had paid. The man whose retirement account I had quietly repaired. The man sitting under my roof, threatening to withdraw family from the daughter funding much of it. I nodded slowly. Then sit carefully, Dad, because the roof over this table is mine. My mother gasped. Marcus stood so fast his chair scraped the floor. You'll regret this. I looked at him. No, Marcus. For the first time, I think I won't. They left angry. My mother crying. My father silent. Marcus muttering. Tasha carrying her purse like a queen, insulted in a palace she had not conquered. The children were confused, and that was the only part that hurt cleanly. They hugged me before leaving. My niece whispered, Auntie, are you mad at us? I knelt carefully and touched her cheek. Never at you. That was true. Children should not pay for adult entitlement. When the front door closed, the house became quiet. Too quiet. I stood in the dining room with the unsigned folder on the table. Then I called Grace. She answered with no greeting. What did they do? That was how well she knew my family. I laughed once, then cried. They told me to sign the mansion over to Marcus. Silence. Then Grace said, I'm coming. Before I continue, tell me where you are watching from tonight, and if your family has ever treated your success like a community account, but your pain like a private problem, stay with this story. Because sometimes, the day they demand your house is the day you finally learn how to close every door. Grace arrived 30 minutes later wearing slippers, a long coat, and the expression of a woman ready to fight a whole bloodline. She walked into the dining room, saw the folder, and did not touch it at first. Did you sign anything? No. Did they threaten you? Dad said if I refused, the family wouldn't stand by me. Grace looked around the mansion. Bold statement from people standing inside your money. I laughed through tears. She opened the folder carefully and flipped through the pages. Her eyebrows rose. Oh, this is trash. Legal trash or emotional trash? Yes. She took photos and sent them to Vivian. Vivian called within 5 minutes. Her face appeared on Grace's phone. Hair wrapped, glasses on, patience missing. Naomi, she said. First, I am sorry. Second, absolutely not. Third, your brother needs better criminals. I laughed despite everything. Vivian continued. This document is poorly drafted, but dangerous enough to reveal intent. Did they say who prepared it? Marcus said a property attorney he knows. Name? I didn't ask. We'll find out. For now, secure the originals. Do not let them back in without notice. Change access codes. Review all property records. And Naomi? Yes? Her voice softened. Do not underestimate what people will do after you refuse something they already spent in their imagination. That sentence stayed with me all night. People who already spent in their imagination. That was my family. Marcus had already moved in mentally. Tasha had already chosen furniture. My parents had already crowned him. They had already placed me in the guest suite of my own life. The next morning, I woke up with swollen eyes and a clear head. The house felt different, not less beautiful, less innocent. Every room now seemed to ask me a question. Who is this for? The kitchen where my mother gave orders. The dining room where my father sat at the head. The pool where Marcus hosted friends without asking. The guest cottage Tasha had apparently claimed. The media room where the children played while adults plotted. The main bedroom Marcus thought should go to the married couple. I stood in the doorway of that bedroom and realized something painful. This house had become a stage for people who loved what my success gave them more than they loved the woman who earned it. I had bought the mansion as proof. Proof that I had made it. Proof that my family could be proud. Proof that the responsible daughter had built something no one could dismiss. But if people are committed to using you, bigger proof only gives them bigger things to use. By noon, Grace arrived with coffee and her laptop. Vivian joined by video. We reviewed everything. Property title, insurance, trust structures, access logs, security codes, guest authorizations, family expenses tied to the house. It was worse than I wanted to admit. My parents had keys. Marcus had gate access. Tasha had storage in the guest cottage. My father received mail at the house sometimes because he said his post was unreliable. Marcus had used my address on 2 business applications. My mother had given the caterer permission to bill me for a church committee luncheon I did not attend. The mansion was mine legally, but emotionally, my family had been colonizing it room by room. Vivian said, "Change everything today." Grace already had a checklist. Gate code, door codes, garage access, security cameras, vendor instructions, mail authorization, guest cottage lock, safe room combination, credit card on file with caterers, house staff access policy, family event approvals. I approved all of it. Then I did something no one expected. I called a realtor. Her name was Denise Carter. She had handled discrete property sales for several executives I knew. She came that afternoon, walked through the house, and looked at me in the foyer. "You want market value or speed?" I looked up at the staircase. The same staircase my mother had once decorated with garlands for Christmas, and later used to stage family photos, where Marcus stood at the center. Both, if possible. She studied me. "You love the house?" "I used to." "Family." I smiled sadly. "Is it that obvious? People selling because of family walk differently, like they're trying not to wake ghosts." I almost cried. "Yes." She nodded. "We can list quietly first. Private network, qualified buyers only. If we price well, this house will move." Grace looked at me. "Are you sure?" I looked around again. The marble, the windows, the flowers, the silence. Yes. Because I understood something then. If I kept the mansion, my family would keep circling it like a promised inheritance. Every holiday would become tense. Every visit would feel like inspection. Every boundary would be called cruelty. Every room would remind me that the people I loved had tried to move me into the guest suite of my own success. So I decided to remove the battlefield. Not because they won, because I refused to keep living inside a war over walls. The house went into private listing within a week. My family did not know. At first, but they discovered the changed codes within 2 days. My mother called first. "Naomi, the gate code isn't working." I changed it. Silence. "Why?" "Because access changed." "Baby, don't do this." "Do what?" "Lock family out." I looked through the kitchen window at the garden. "Mom, family tried to sign me out." She cried. "That's not fair." "No, it wasn't." She paused, then lowered her voice. "Your father is very upset. I'm sure. And Marcus says you are acting out of pride." "Marcus can say it from outside the gate." My mother gasped softly. "You sound hard." "I sound locked." She cried harder. "I did not open the gate. My father emailed that night." This behavior is childish and disrespectful. Refusing a family discussion is one thing. Changing locks is another. You are making this family look divided. I replied, "The family became divided when you ordered me to transfer my home to Marcus. The locks are only catching up." Marcus sent texts from 3 different numbers. "You can't keep the kids from the house." "Mom is crying because of you." "No one wanted to steal anything." "You're going to die alone in that big, empty house." That last one should have cut deep. A year earlier, it would have. But now the words sounded like a man throwing stones at a window he could no longer open. I sent every message to Vivian. She replied. He remains a generous supplier of evidence. 2 weeks later, we received an offer. Full price. Cash buyer. Quick closing. No financing delay. Denise called me while I was in the library. "Naomi, this is strong. Very strong." I looked around the room. Built-in shelves. Reading chair. Gold lamp. Stacks of books. The room I had loved most. The one place in the house my family rarely entered because it asked nothing of them and gave no food. For a moment, I felt grief. Not for the mansion, for the woman who thought this room might finally make her feel settled. Then I said, "Accept it." Grace was with me. She touched my shoulder. "You okay?" "No." "Do you still want to sell?" "Yes." Both things were true. That is how many life-changing decisions feel. Painful and correct. The buyer requested a 30-day closing. I agreed. Then I began quietly packing. I bought a new home first. Smaller, still beautiful, secure. A modern house with 3 bedrooms, a garden, an office, and no guest cottage. No guest cottage was important. Grace laughed when I said it. No spare kingdom for Marcus? Never again. The new home had a round dining table. Also important. No head, no throne. No father claiming authority through furniture. I moved slowly. Books first. Personal documents. Grandma Ruth's old recipes. My art. My clothes. Items with meaning. Everything else became negotiable. Furniture sold. Some donated. Some included with the mansion sale. I removed family photos from the hallway and stared at the empty wall for a long time. It looked honest. My family found out about the sale from a neighbor. Of course. My mother arrived at the gate that evening. The guard called me. "Ms. Bennett, your mother is here." I watched through the camera. She stood outside in a blue dress, clutching her handbag, face wet with tears. My father stood behind her. Marcus paced near his car. Tasha stayed inside the passenger seat, arms crossed. I almost did not go out. Then I did. Not beyond the gate, just close enough to speak through it. My mother grabbed the bars. "Naomi, tell me it isn't true." "It's true. You're selling the house?" "Yes." My father stepped forward. "Without telling us?" I looked at him. "Yes." His jaw tightened. "This is a family home." "No, this is the house you tried to take from me." Marcus shouted from behind them. "We never tried to take it. We tried to keep it in the family." I looked at him. "By removing me from ownership, you would have still lived here. In the guest suite." My mother cried out, "Naomi, please, that was just talk." I stared at her. "Mom, you cannot order papers drafted, discuss bedrooms, sit me down at dinner, and then call it talk when I refuse." She sobbed. My father said, "Your mother loved this house." So did I. That stopped him. For once, he seemed to realize the house had belonged emotionally to someone other than them. My voice shook, but I kept going. "I bought it because I wanted a place where the family could gather and maybe finally see me as more than useful. Instead, you looked around and decided Marcus deserved it more because he had a wife and children. You decided I could always buy another place because my life looked emptier to you." My mother covered her mouth. Marcus muttered, "Here we go." My father turned sharply. "Marcus, be quiet." That surprised everyone, especially Marcus. My father looked back at me. "Naomi, don't sell it. We can repair this." "No." "Why?" "Because repair cannot happen in a house everyone already tried to claim." My mother whispered, "Where will holidays be?" "Somewhere else." "But Thanksgiving will survive without marble." Grace, who stood a few feet behind me, looked down to hide a smile. Marcus stepped closer to the gate. "You're doing this to punish us." "No," I said. "I'm doing this because you made staying feel like punishment." He had no answer. Tasha climbed out of the car then. "So what about the children? They love the pool." I looked at her. "They will heal." Her face hardened. "You are cold." "No, I am no longer rentable." She blinked. "Good." My mother cried my name again, but I was done. I stepped back from the gate. "The closing is in 3 weeks. You may arrange to collect any belongings by appointment. Nothing else will be discussed at the gate." My father looked at me with something like fear. "You're serious?" "Yes." The gate remained closed between us. For once, it felt like protection instead of decoration. The weeks before closing were chaos. Relatives called. Some gently, some nosy, some carrying my mother's version. Aunt Linda called and asked one question. Did they really ask you to sign it to Marcus? Yes. She sighed. Then sell it with clean windows, baby. I laughed for the first time that week. Brianna called too. My younger sister had not been at the dinner. She lived in another state and worked as a nurse. My mother told her I was breaking the family over property. I sent her photos of the transfer papers, then Marcus's texts, then the listing agreement. She called back crying. I'm sorry I believed her for 10 minutes. For what specifically? I asked softly. For thinking you might be overreacting instead of asking what they had done to make you sell a house you loved. That was honest. I accepted it. Brianna flew in before closing to help me pack. She walked through the mansion slowly. I remember when you bought this, she said. Me too. You were so happy. I was hopeful. She looked at me. That's sadder. Yes. In the guest cottage, we found Tasha's boxes. Clothes, decor catalogs, children's toys, a folder labeled Mansion Ideas. Inside were photos of furniture, paint colors, pool party themes, and a handwritten note. Main suite, hours after transfer. Naomi can take East guest room until she finds something smaller. Brianna read it and went silent. Then she said, I'm going to need Vivian's breathing exercises. I took the paper and stared at it. Until she finds something smaller. They had planned my shrinking in writing. I sent a photo to Grace. She replied, Frame it next to your new deed. I almost did. Instead, I sent it to Vivian. She replied, This family has a talent for confession stationery. The final confrontation before closing happened because Marcus tried to stop the sale. Not legally. He had no right. Emotionally. Loudly. He showed up at my office with my parents behind him. Security called upstairs. I almost refused. Then Vivian said, Let them come to the conference room. I enjoy controlled environments. So they came. Marcus placed both hands on the conference table. You need to cancel the sale. I sat across from him. No. That house is worth more than money. I know. That is why I'm selling it. My mother cried quietly. My father looked tired. Marcus leaned forward. You are destroying the one thing that could keep this family together. I laughed softly. No, Marcus. The house did not keep us together. My silence did. That hit the room. My mother looked down. Marcus shook his head. You always make yourself the victim. Vivian spoke from beside me. Mr. Bennett, your sister has a signed transfer demand, threatening messages, and a folder from your wife planning the main suite after transfer. If she is making herself the victim, you all kindly provided wardrobe. My father closed his eyes. Marcus glared. I'm not talking to you. Vivian smiled. Wise. People rarely enjoy it. I looked at my father. Why are you here? He rubbed his hands together. Your mother wanted one more chance. And you? He did not answer immediately. Then he said, I came because I think we crossed a line. My mother sobbed. Marcus turned. Dad. My father looked at him. No, we did. The room went still. For years, my father had protected Marcus's pride like it was the family's last candle. Hearing him contradict Marcus felt like the air changing. My father looked at me. We should never have asked you to sign the house over. My throat tightened. No, you shouldn't have. He nodded. I told myself it made sense because Marcus has children, because you were alone, because you could buy another, because the house felt too large for one life. But the truth is, I looked at what you built and treated it like extra. My eyes burned. Extra. That was the word. My life had been extra because it did not look like his preferred version. No husband, no children, no traditional family picture. So my home became available. My money became available. My time became available. My success became surplus. My father continued. I am sorry. For what specifically? I asked. For asking you to transfer your home. For letting Marcus sit at the head of your table while asking. For allowing your mother's tears to pressure you. For thinking your life needed less space because you are unmarried. For forgetting that you are the one who built it. The room went quiet. My mother cried into her hand. Marcus looked betrayed. Of course. Truth often feels like betrayal to the person who benefited from the lie. I looked at my mother. She whispered, I am sorry too. I waited. For what specifically? She struggled. For crying to make you listen. For saying Marcus needed a family home as if you did not need a home too. For planning to let you stay in the guest suite. For pretending I wanted family unity when I also wanted the comfort of that house through your brother. That one mattered. It cost her something to say. I nodded. Thank you. Marcus scoffed. You're both folding because she has money. My father turned on him. Marcus, enough. There was that word again. But this time it faced him. Marcus looked stunned. My father said, Your sister does have money. She earned it. You did not earn her house. Marcus's face went red. I'm your son, and she is my daughter. The room went silent. My mother looked at my father like she had been waiting 30 years to hear that sentence, and was afraid to trust it now. Marcus stepped back. Wow. My father's voice broke. I have failed both of you. I made you believe being my son entitled you to more, and I made Naomi believe being my daughter meant carrying more. That was the truest thing he had ever said. I cried then, quietly. Not enough to change the sale. Enough to mark the moment. Marcus stormed out. Tasha, who had waited in the lobby, left with him. My parents stayed. My mother asked, Are you still selling it? Yes. She nodded through tears. I understand. Not fully. But enough not to fight. Closing day came like rain after thunder. I walked through the mansion one last time. Brianna went with me, but stayed a few steps behind. The house was mostly empty. No more dining table. No family photos. No guest cottage boxes. No pool toys. No mother's extra dishes. No Marcus business mail. No Tasha catalogs. Just rooms and echoes. I stood in the main bedroom, the one they had planned to give Marcus and Tasha. The morning light touched the floor. For a moment, I felt the grief of every dream I had placed there. I had imagined waking up in that room feeling safe. I had imagined one day sharing it with someone who loved me. I had imagined nieces and nephews running down the hallway, my parents laughing downstairs, Marcus finally grateful, Tasha finally kind. I had imagined belonging. But the house had become proof that belonging cannot be purchased from people who prefer your usefulness. Brianna touched my shoulder. You ready? No. She waited. Then I said, yes. We left. At the title office, I signed the sale documents with Vivian beside me and Grace across from me. Denise, the realtor, smiled gently. Congratulations. I thought the word would hurt. It did not. Not fully. The money moved. The mansion became someone else's. And I became lighter. Not happy exactly. Free. Freedom and sadness can stand in the same room. That day, they did. My new house was ready by the end of the week. Smaller. Warm. No gate at first, though Grace insisted on good security. 3 bedrooms. A garden. A library with sunlight. A kitchen with blue tile. A round dining table. No guest cottage. No main suite large enough for anyone to covet. No rooms built for people who believed my life took up too much space. The first night there, I slept on a mattress on the floor because the furniture had not arrived. I woke at 3 a.m. to silence. Not empty silence. Peaceful silence. There is a difference. My family did not know the address for 3 months. My mother struggled with that. She sent messages. Some apologetic. Some sad. Some still guilty. I answered when I could. My father sent one letter, handwritten, no demands, no defense. He wrote, Naomi, I went back in my mind to every time I told you to help your brother because you were stronger. I see now that I was teaching him weakness and calling it family. I was teaching you exhaustion and calling it love. I am ashamed. I kept that letter, not because it fixed everything, because it named the wound. Marcus did not speak to me for almost a year. During that year, he lost more than the mansion fantasy. Without my home as stage and my money as backup, his image cracked. Tasha had told friends they were preparing to move into the family estate. When that failed, the embarrassment became heavy. Her boutique, which had quietly depended on my support, struggled. Marcus's business pitch tied to Bennett family property gatherings collapsed because he no longer had a property to gather people in. My parents stopped covering him as before. Not completely at first. Old habits die slowly. But something in my father had changed. When Marcus asked for help with a new business loan, my father said, "Bring a plan, not pressure." Marcus was furious. Good. Fury is often what entitlement feels before it becomes understanding. My mother began therapy after Brianna told her, "You cried harder over losing access to the mansion than you cried over Naomi being asked to leave her own bedroom." That sentence apparently broke her open. My mother called me after that therapy session. "I am sorry," she said. "For what specifically?" "For wanting the house more than I saw the daughter in it." That was enough for the day. I cried after we hung up, then watered my garden. Healing sometimes needs dirt. A year after the sale, Marcus asked to meet. I ignored the first message, then the second. The third came through Brianna, not pressuring, just forwarding. "I want to apologize. I am not asking for money or property." Vivian said, "Meet at my office if you want. I'll bring my favorite pen." So I did. Marcus looked different. Still handsome, still proud in the face, but tired now, less polished. He sat across from me and did not lean back like he owned the chair. That was new. "Thank you for meeting," he said. I nodded. He swallowed. "I'm sorry." "For what specifically?" He looked down. "For asking you to sign the mansion over. For sitting at the head of your table while doing it. For saying you could stay in the guest suite. For letting Tasha plan the main bedroom. For telling you that you would die alone. For acting like my wife and kids made my need more real than yours." The room went quiet. That last one mattered most. I felt it enter my chest and sit there. "Why did you think you deserved it?" I asked. He rubbed his hands together. "Because everyone always acted like I should get the biggest space." That was honest. Ugly, but honest. "And because," he continued, "your house made me feel small. Every time I walked in, I felt like you had become what Dad wanted me to be, so I told myself you didn't need it as much." My eyes burned. "You made my success into your injury." He nodded. "Yes, that was not mine to fix." "I know. Do you?" "I'm learning." I studied him. "How?" He gave a small, painful laugh. "Tasha left for 6 months. Said she married a man who kept trying to live in rooms other people built. Dad stopped backing every idea. Mom stopped crying for me on command. I had to get a real job." I almost smiled. "A real job?" "Operations manager for a food distribution company." "That is very real." "It is awful." "Good." He looked up, surprised. I shrugged. Useful things often are at first. He laughed softly, then became serious. "I'm not asking you for anything." "Good. I just wanted you to know I understand why you sold it." I waited. He said, "Because if you kept it, we would have kept trying to move into parts of you." That sentence did more than I expected. My throat tightened. "Yes. I'm sorry. I hear you." That was all I could give. And for once, he accepted it without reaching for more. My parents eventually visited my new home. Not quickly. Not casually. After invitation. My mother arrived with flowers and asked at the door, "May I come in?" I almost cried before answering. Yes. My father stepped inside slowly, looking around with careful eyes. It's beautiful, he said. Thank you. My mother looked at the round dining table and smiled sadly. No head of the table. No. Good, she whispered. We ate a simple meal. Soup, bread, fruit. Nothing grand. No speeches. No demands. No Marcus. At one point, my father helped clear plates without being asked. My mother washed bowls. I let her. After dinner, we sat in the garden. My mother said, "This house feels like you." That's because I bought it for me. She nodded. I am glad. I believed her. Not completely, but enough. Months later, I used part of the mansion sale proceeds to create the Room of Her Own fund. The name came from what I had almost lost. The fund helped women secure housing, legal protection, and financial boundaries after family pressure, divorce, inheritance conflict, or emotional manipulation. We helped daughters who were being pushed to add brothers to deeds, widows pressured to move out, single women told they did not need large homes, older women whose children wanted control, sisters asked to sign over inherited land for family unity. Vivian taught a workshop called Never Sign While Crying. Grace taught Access is not ownership. Brianna, after training, taught family communication sessions for people trying to hold boundaries without turning cruel. I opened the first event with this. A woman does not need a husband or children to deserve space. Her life does not become extra because it looks different from what her family expected. The room went silent. Then women stood, some crying, some clapping, some both. My mother watched the recording later and called me. I wish I had understood that sooner. Me too. I am proud of you. I paused, then said, thank you. It felt different now. Less like food to a starving person, more like water I could drink or leave on the table. That is healing. Marcus attended one fund event years later, not as a speaker, as a guest. He sat in the back and listened to a woman tell a story about being pressured to sign her inherited land to her brother. I saw his face change. Afterward, he came to me quietly. I sounded like every villain in that room. I looked at him. Not every. He gave me a tired smile. Enough. Yes. He donated that day. A small amount. His own money. No announcement. No photo. No tax drama. Just a donation. Grace saw the receipt and said, "Look at Marcus, discovering quiet." We laughed. My relationship with the mansion became strange after the sale. For a while, I avoided that part of town. Then one day, by accident, I drove past the road leading to the old gates. My chest tightened, then eased. The new owners had changed the flowers near the entrance. The house no longer looked like mine. That helped. It was just a house again. Beautiful, expensive, silent. Not a battlefield, not proof, not a question. Just walls. I realized I did not miss it. I missed who I hoped I would become inside it. But that woman had come with me. Not in the furniture. Not in the land. In the refusal. In the closed folder. In the sold sign. In the new key that opened a smaller door to a wider life. Sign the $1 million mansion over to your brother, my parents ordered. So I sold it first. People like the drama of that sentence. The shock. The reversal. The family losing access. The brother standing outside the gate. The mother crying. The father finally realizing he had gone too far. I understand. But the deeper story is not about real estate. It is about space. Who gets it? Who is told they deserve it? Who is expected to give it up? Who is called selfish for keeping it? My family believed Marcus deserved my mansion because his life looked fuller than mine. Wife, children, public role, big plans. They looked at me and saw a single woman in a large house and decided my space was waste. They were wrong. A woman's space is not waste because she occupies it alone. A woman's money is not family overflow because she earned more than expected. A woman's home is not available because someone else has children. A woman's success is not a waiting room for her brother's comfort. And a daughter does not have to sign away her life to prove she loves her family. If you are listening and someone is pressuring you to transfer property, add a name, sign a deed, co-sign a loan, give up a room, move out, share what you built, or make your life smaller for family peace, hear me clearly. Stop. Breathe. Call a lawyer. Read every page. Do not sign at dinner. Do not sign while crying. Do not sign because your mother is hurt. Do not sign because your father is disappointed. Do not sign because your brother says he needs it more. Do not sign because people call your boundaries pride. Do not sign away a home your spirit fought to build. And if keeping the house means staying trapped in a war, you are allowed to sell. You are allowed to turn walls into freedom. You are allowed to remove the thing people are trying to take and use the money to build a life where access is earned, not assumed. Today, I live in my smaller house with the round table. My garden is full of basil, roses, and peppers for Grandma Ruth. My library gets morning sun. My guest room is for invited guests only. My parents visit sometimes. They knock. They ask. They sit where they are seated. Marcus visits rarely, and when he does, he brings food, pays for himself, and never jokes about moving in. Tasha and he eventually divorced, then slowly rebuilt a calmer co-parenting relationship. The children still visit me, but now they know Auntie Naomi's house is not family property. It is Auntie Naomi's home. That matters. At the Room of Her Own Fund, we keep a framed quote near the entrance. Not from a famous person, from Grace. She said it the night after my family tried to take the mansion. Do not let people make you homeless inside your own life. Every woman who walks through our doors sees it. Some laugh, some cry, some take photos, some whisper, "That's me." I tell them, "Not forever. My name is Naomi Bennett. My family ordered me to sign over my mansion. I sold it first, not because I hated them, because I finally loved myself enough to stop giving people rooms inside me they only wanted to own. And when the sale closed, when the keys left my hand, when the mansion disappeared from my life, I did not lose my home. I found it.